What's up? It's Friday night from the forum, and this week we got Super Bowl and Super Bowl bets. So hang on tight. We got a good show for you. What's up? What's up? How you doing tonight, fellas?
It's the best weekend of the year, man. Super Bowl Sunday. I got so much food lined up in my house. I have a big party. If you're in Ohio, come find me. We'll hook you up. But I'm pumped, man. And I'm more pumped because Joe's here. I haven't seen this guy in a long time. It's my dog. He's going to drop some knowledge today. I'm freaking pumped.
I was going to say, as a Steeler fan, you normally have to plan what food you're going to have because it's not like you're watching this game for any importance.
We really just get ready for the wild card, and then you just know after that. It's low stakes.
With Mike McCarthy, you will be shooting for the moon, which is maybe making the playoffs. Yeah, it's going to be a good time. I mean, last I was on here, I was calling you the more handsome Joe, which definitely is the truth. And I was also talking about the truth that was Caleb Johnson, which was not the case back in July. So win some, you lose some, but hopefully we'll try to win some more tonight.
Hey, man, it's a great show, and I'm glad to have you on the show, Joe. So, look, nobody going into this year, I don't think anybody going into this year was going, the Super Bowl is going to be the Seahawks and the Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
It is one of the craziest things, Joe, from your Joe Bartel, from your perspective. I'll just call you Joe, and I'll call Frick. That'll make it easy. Joe, from your perspective, was this a surprise? And you talked about calls you missed. For me, I was saying at the very beginning of the season, like, I don't see how Sam Darnold behind that awful O-line is going to last more than 6 to 7 weeks. And here we are. He's been efficient. They protected decent, actually, and he's in the Super Bowl. And I stand completely corrected. But was there really a surprise for you like that in this year?
Oh, I mean, there's a ton of them overall. I mean, if we're just sticking to the Super Bowl, I didn't believe the Seahawks could do this at the beginning of the season, certainly not the Patriots either. I thought the Seahawks were going to be one of the worst offenses in the league, and that by week 3 or week 4 was just quickly futile. I mean, it was very obvious that Jackson Smith and Jigba, who I ironically liked a lot. I mean, there's that tier of receivers: Marvin Harrison, Lab McConkey, JSN, Mike Evans, Terry McLaurin at a various point. Like, I kept telling everyone I would rather have JSN because if he was going to emerge as a wide receiver 1, it made more sense than anyone in that second or third round tier. But I thought it was more off of volume, and the Seahawks are trailing, and the defense, which was fine last year, was not going to play up to the level that they have this season. And all of that basically was incorrect. And mind you, this is in one of the hardest divisions, I think, in the entire NFL with the NFC West, given what the Niners were, despite all the injuries, and certainly what the Rams were as well, too. I think by midway through the year, it was hard to ignore, A, what Sam Darnold was doing, and more importantly, Tyler, what I agree with you was the biggest part for me. The Seahawks offensive line was what I thought would be one of the worst in the league, at least average, right? And we didn't really know what Greg Zabel, the first-round pick, was going to be relative to stabilizing that. They had the other rookie that I'm blanking his name right now, who ends up being probably the weakest link of that offensive line group right now, and Charles Cross was banged up, whatever else. Like, it didn't really matter. I mean, you could mix in Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet and enough timely plays from Sam Darnold. That was like the better version of the Vikings from last year, which is what Sam Darnold's team was. And I thought the explosive plays for Minnesota last year were kind of reliant on Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison and things of that nature, made with Brian Flores kind of scheming that defense. Whereas it felt like Sam Darnold elevated a lot of this portion of it. So I thought the Seahawks were one of the better teams, certainly entering the postseason. In my mind, it was the Rams as the best team, and the Seahawks probably the second best team. And that wasn't just the NFC. I thought they were the 2 best teams in the entire NFL. So to me, 2 weeks ago, that was playing for the Super Bowl, and I haven't really changed my mind on that as well. I mean, I think we could discuss it further. I want to make sure that the more handsome Joe Frick gets at least a word in here about the Patriots. But to me, that's the bigger surprise this season, despite how great I think Mike Vrabel is as a coach.
Yeah, that's crazy. So if you look at history, this is the 3rd time in a row for the Patriots. This is the 3rd time where both Super Bowl teams both missed the playoffs the previous year and now are both in the Super Bowl. So we have this one, Super Bowl 60, happened last in 02. So 02-03, both the Patriots and the Panthers missed. And then you go to Super Bowl 38. Patriots won that one. Then you have a couple years prior to that, Super Bowl 36, Patriots, Rams. So they just kind of have this ability in that organization to have these fast turnarounds. Drake May, obviously the truth, very close to winning MVP, only lost it by 1 vote. Shout out to our boys at PFF, always muddying the waters. Appreciate y'all. But at the end of the day, they've been the team of destiny of sorts. A lot of things that people complain about this team, that's too easy of a schedule. They haven't really been challenged all that much. They lost to the Steelers, all these different things. But they find ways to win. They have the young hot QB. They've got a good running game. The defense has been fantastic. For me, whoever is able to reduce mistakes is going to come out big. What we've seen with the Patriots as of late, they've been giving up a lot of sacks. Seattle is great at getting pressure on the QB. Drake May is going to really have to utilize his legs. And the same thing for Sam Darnold as well. Patriots aren't slouches. He's probably going to be running the ball more than you would expect Sam Darnold to do because he'll be running for his life. It's going to come down to turnovers. We talked about Sam Darnold and kind of having that lack of ability historically for big game outputs, struggling when he has pressure. 0 turnovers this playoff run. That's huge. He's going to need to keep that up. I think ultimately Seattle's going to win this one. I just think they're a more complete team. But like I said, it's been kind of that team of destiny vibe for the Patriots. You love to see what Vrabel's doing. Drake May took that second-year leap. And we'll see how it shakes out. But it's going to be close. I'd be shocked if there's 40 points scored in this game. But it's still going to be good football. So I'm excited.
Nice. You got Try Hard in there. Love the show. Thanks for the love. JSN won me my league from BHS Cardinal 16. Look, one of the things I'm most excited about this Super Bowl is that it's just different. I would be surprised if this is one of the most watched Super Bowls in a while, just because of that. I mean, like we said, it wasn't teams you expected. But then the storylines, right? The storylines are crazy. You got Sam Darnold, who came in as a top pick in the league, right? And just floundered from team to team. Not, and then he gets to the Vikings. He gets it, in that system. He does really well. Just all these troubles to his career, and then he and Seattle, and they didn't give him a long-term deal. Like, it wasn't like they were looking for him to be their future, and he shows out. So you have somebody that was supposed to be prolific, really, really struggled for a long time. And it's almost like their career got rebirthed, right? Like I saw people saying after this season, they're saying if Sam Darnold wins the Super Bowl, he's in your top 10, or even I've seen people say top 5 quarterback list, which is crazy to me, but that's how much the narrative's changed. So you got a displaced, but then on the other side, you got a displaced coach, right? You like Vrabel goes in there. I don't know what the Titans were thinking. It was right. Absolutely. Maybe they just wanted new scenery. Maybe it was like the guy that dates a girl for a while. He's like, I don't know, and they just wanted to see what else was out there. And then it was awful. They should have just kept Vrabel. Vrabel goes to New England, takes this team, and like you said, nobody expected it. Takes Drake May, takes the defense. It just absolutely killer. So then you got the new young gun, right? Like you got the story, the narrative of the young gun coming in. You got and really without a huge onslaught of talent around him, right? Like it's not like he's got, like Stephon Diggs, the biggest name. He's out here throwing to, Kayshon Boutte and Pop Douglas,
Mac Hollins, respect Mac Hollins.
Mac Hollins is out there with no shoes on, like he's somebody, It's like it's crazy, and that team's there. It makes you worried a little bit. It's like, oh my gosh, like did Tennessee give New England like the new regime? Like, is this going to be something we're going to have to deal with year after year? Vrabel and freaking Drake May running the scene. And they got 2 good young running backs, good offensive line. Like they've really put together a good team where it counts. Defense is always strong, but this is the narrative. And so I think that we're excited going into the Super Bowl, with 2 different teams, 2 different stories. We're going to crown a different winner, and it's fun.
Are the Patriots different though? I'm so tired of them being successful organization.
They are
We've
different
all been
because it's not the
We've
same.
all been complaining about, oh, the Chiefs. I'm tired of the Chiefs. And it's just like Thanos. Where did that bring you? Back to me. The Patriots are back, and it's freaking annoying, bro. I'm sick of it. Like, just find somebody else.
I agree with you, Frick. I'm the same way. Tyler's a much nicer person than me. I look at the Patriots this year, and I'm jealous. As a Packer fan that's watched one of the best quarterbacks of all time make just one Super Bowl and gut-wrenching mistake after a horrible call, whatever else it might be, the overtime rules don't get changed until Josh Allen gets screwed over, not my guy Aaron Rodgers, multiple times to the Cardinals. Like I have watched time and time and time again, luck not go in my factor. The Patriots get the easiest schedule of all time, get the easiest playoff schedule of all time. Now, nobody thought that entering the playoffs. Nobody thought Justin Herbert would turn to Justin Nobert and that CJ Stroud would be worse than Davis Mills and that you'd be playing Jarrett Stidham in the final round of the playoff. Like, I mean, that's nobody. I'm not knocking the Patriots, and my team I've watched many times, especially in recent memory, play down to their competition. The Patriots never really did that. So, like, I want to be clear, especially to Patriots fans watching this, it's not really saying they're a bad team by any means, but they spent the most guaranteed money of anybody this offseason by $40 million. If my team did that, we would have 5 of those guys blow out their knees by week 3. Like the idea that they all stay healthy, that everyone's able to actually do what you're supposed to do, that you capitalize on this easy schedule, that Drake May stays healthy for the entire year. Why do the Patriots get all that luck? Oh, boo-hoo, they didn't make the playoffs 6 years ago. Like, stop this. It's ridiculous to me. So, like, I know what you're saying. I don't believe this will be the most watched Super Bowl of all time because I actually think there's not a lot of people that are ready to watch the Patriots be in this spot again. We just got over it. I certainly am not there too.
Joe, it's a totally different regime, though. It's different.
I don't care. Look,
I remember when Mike Vrabel was
for anybody else, I would be on cloud 9 and be like, "That's my dog. I love Drake May." Like, I'm hate watching this Super Bowl, and I'm like, I can't see the Patriots do it again.
Please,
I don't want the Patriots to win. I do want it to be a competitive game. So, like, I'm rooting for that part of it a little bit, but the Patriots fans are already annoying about, like, well, if you look at the advanced metrics, Drake May was as good as Matthew Stafford. No, he wasn't. Again, he had the easiest schedule of all time and literally gets the easiest playoff run. He threw 6 interceptions. Yes, half those games were played in frigid conditions. You got lucky. And I never get lucky. Packers don't get lucky. The Bucks don't get lucky. That all in trade that they make for Damian Lillard means that he gets to have a blood clot and then misses the entire postseason. That's what sports is to me. So you Patriots fans, you guys get to have a Super Bowl run after 7 years because you just drafted Drake May and picked number 3. No, I don't want that. So I'm not rooting for the Patriots to win, nor do I think a lot of America is either. It's just that the Seahawks and the Sam Darnold story, I think, are going to end up being one that we kind of forget about. In a lot of ways, I think a lot to like the Joe Flacco 4 or 5 week stretch where he ends up winning the Super Bowl for the Ravens. And the biggest thing that comes out of that is Joe Flacco elite and becomes a meme for 10 plus years later. Not really that the Ravens defense was really good or whatever else. So I think that kind of feels like a similar Super Bowl to me. I don't know if there's any that makes sense or like that you're like, oh yeah, it reminds me of this one, but I'm looking forward to the game. I hope it's good, but I am rooting for the Patriots to lose because I want them to suffer the way that I have and every other sports franchise has suffered outside of the Chiefs for the last 2 decades.
Yeah, and I think you have to imagine as like if you're a Minnesota fan, you're probably pulling for the Patriots as well. Just because you don't want to see the guy that you let go. You just fired your GM. There's all of this like nasty stuff coming out like, oh, he took paternity leave after his wife had a baby. Like, look how terrible of a GM he was. It's like, all right, what are we doing here? Like, that was over the summer. It wasn't during draft season. Like, there's way other things that we can be mad about, like not like being a dad. Okay, whatever. But so I think like you'll have a faction of folks there like, no, like that was supposed to be us. We can't root for it. But otherwise, yeah, I think the Seattle folk is definitely going to be kind of the more popular one. That contract, like you were saying, Tyler, though, was very similar to the Baker Mayfield deal. You got like this 3-year thing. He's getting the money, but it's going to be really interesting to see what they do with this next contract. There's no way they're going to let him go. There's a lot of change in the way that people are paying out these quarterbacks. They're hesitant to give out that long-term money, but the cap is growing so fast, it might not even matter.
We'll have to see. Got to give a shout out a little bit to the chat. Albert, what's up, fellas? Stating the obvious in the chat. What's up, fellas? Appreciate y'all tuning in. Hit that like button. Much appreciated. And I'm not going to pretend that I know how to say that user's name, but talking about the Patriots.
Come on, man.
Yes, whatever you said. As soon as the Patriots play a healthy Ravens, Chiefs, or Bills, they finna absolutely get smoked, or even the Broncos.
Ravens lost to the Steelers multiple times, so I feel like that's probably false.
Well, is it that simple? Like,
is it that simple? And the Chiefs are washed too. The Chiefs are washed too. They were out of playoff contention before Mahomes got hurt. So this revisionist history of like, oh, the Chiefs this, the Chiefs that. No, the Chiefs have not drafted well for like 4 years, and they're barely hanging on because Patrick Mahomes is like a top 5 quarterback of all time. The Bills are the Bills, and until they find a way to like get a receiver, it's not going to happen.
If the Bills, I'm going to pose this to both of you guys. If the Bills played that pathetic Chargers team in round 1, and then played the pathetic CJ Stroud Texans in round 2, and then played the Jarrett Stidham Broncos in round 3, are the Bills in the Super Bowl?
Probably. I had the Jaguars winning the Super Bowl.
Actually. Okay, and I was gonna flip it. If the Jags play this pathetic Chargers team, pathetic CJ Stroud, and then Jarrett Stidham, do the Jags make the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
So I mean, again, this is not a knock on the Patriots, but you talk about the Chiefs and them being washed. That's actually a really interesting conversation. They're negative 58 million in cap, and you could kind of just adjust that with a few different moves, but they are maxed out to what they could be. They played a significantly more difficult schedule than the Patriots, for example. If the Chiefs had got this Chargers, Texans, and then Jarrett Stidham combo, even with the talent they have right now, I think the Chiefs probably could have made it to the Super Bowl either. Again, you have to win the football games. My Packers have too often lost these ones despite playing inferior competition, but I think a lot of them could have. It's just the Patriots, because sports always hates me, get lucky and get to go ahead and have this schedule and then have this postseason. And I think they could really win the Super Bowl. I think this is going to be a spot where it's a competitive game, because I don't necessarily trust Sam Darnold, like you mentioned, Frick. Like, I think it's entirely possible maybe he has that implosion game that we're all sort of waiting for. And I think Drake May and Mike Vrabel are singularly the better coach and the better quarterback. And we know that just over the history of the past 2 decades is often the winning factor for this. So I mean, like, if the Patriots had played the Rams, I would feel much more comfortable saying the Rams win that game. And I don't know. I think it's kind of one of those that, of course, the Patriots get lucky, because why not?
So, Joe, let me ask you this. What's it going to take? Like, we talked about, like, obviously there's the game script, what's going to take, like, what do you think is the separating factor? What do the Patriots have to do well to win versus what do the Seahawks need to do to win?
I think the Seahawks one is a little bit easier. I think they have to make sure that Drake May doesn't beat them wholly with his legs. So I'm just thinking like Drake May, if he, I don't know, maybe you guys know this off the top of your head, but I'm just going to say a number. If Drake May averages 40 yards per rush, 40 yards rushing per game, that's fine. It just can't be Drake May gets close to 80 or 90, for example. And let's just say Drake May, I know he led the league in first downs gained with his legs on non-drop back plays, whatever fancy stat that the PFF likes to use, whatever like that. Great. Like if Drake May only gets 4 first downs running as opposed to 6 or 7, if it's only like 1 or 2 fourth downs that he maybe is converting like that as opposed to multiple, that really is all I think it'll take. I think Drake May is playing some of the best quarterback we have seen all year. Again, to the point earlier, like I think Drake May is a better quarterback right now than Sam Darnold, just given the lack of offensive line. I think clarity is probably the word I would use, but outside Stephon Diggs and Matt Collins' feet, I don't really think that there's a whole lot of passing options for that Patriots offense. So like, I think Drake May has to singularly be better. He can. I think he could very easily do that. To me, the way the Patriots win this game is because Drake May is just that good, but more importantly, Mike Vrabel is just that good. And what I mean is I don't think is a better coach right now that shaves the edges of the game off better than Mike Vrabel does. We watched it 2 weeks ago where he was deliberately taking his time, subbing things in and out in that Broncos-Patriots game, right? We're just trying to tick, 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 tick. We're trying to bleed the clock down. There's been other instances where Mike Vrabel knows the rule book, I feel like just in the same way that Bill Belichick did in certain facets. I think very clearly, and this is going to go to a lot of the prop bets, I don't want to get into much further than this, but a guy like Rashid Shaheed, if he gets 1 return touchdown, that's it, right? Like, I think it's certainly possible. I can almost guarantee you Mike Vrabel will not let the Seahawks special teams beat them, right? I mean, that's a tough one. Shaving the edges off this and whatever differences or advantages the team might have, X team over the Patriots, I think Mike Vrabel singularly can make that up. Now, is it enough of a difference to make the Patriots favorites? Well, no, right? Because that's where Vegas has them at 4.5. That line hasn't moved now in 2 weeks. But that's where I go back to Drake May plays just on the top of his head the whole time. And Mike Vrabel removes the advantages that other teams, and he's done this all year. I think he's done it throughout his entire coaching career, dating back to the Titans as well, too, makes that game competitive and more like a 50-50 shot as opposed to 60-40.
Yeah, I think one of the coolest things, just you saying that about Vrabel, one of the most interesting things that I've ever seen him do, and I've seen it happen a couple of times. I think it happened a couple weeks ago. He is very knowledgeable of the rule book to the point where there was a game, they had their 3 timeouts. They had given up like a 6 or 7 yard run on first down and were trying to basically prevent from using their timeouts. So the team lines up right before the 2-minute warning. He takes a fall. He basically takes an encroachment penalty,
deliberate,
force the offside so that it resets the downs without them having to use timeouts. And then it went to the 2-minute warning. So stuff like that, I think, is just like super creative. We did not have that in Pittsburgh very often. So to me, stuff like that's super cool. Also being a hashtag stats guy for you, regular season Drake May, 26.5 yards per game. But in the playoffs, he's been averaging 47 per game. He had over 60 yards in 2 out of 3 games, only had 10 yards against Houston. So the
rushing,
legs
right?
are going. Yeah, that's going to be a huge factor for him. Absolutely. He's ripped off some big runs, both in the Broncos game and in the first round game against the Chargers. So they're definitely going to need to keep a contain on him, which for whatever reason, it didn't seem like the Broncos did at all 2 weeks ago. They were just like fine with him running, which that he was a good runner even in college. So I don't know why you wouldn't have a spy on him at all. That was very bizarre to me.
Okay, so obviously we want to hit in the show, and you started to get there, Joe, but held yourself back. We're going to be talking some betting lines, which I'm not a huge bettor. I tend to be more betting on things that I feel a little bit more certain about. If I'm
money for the halftime show, perhaps.
No, that's not gonna be me. I'm not the guy that's like betting on the national anthem.
That's free money. The national anthem is every year. Okay, all right, that's fine. That's okay. That's good.
It's gonna be the under.
Well, sorry, I'm just not as versed. Like I like sitting there, like let me just sing the national anthem real quick. I can't pinpoint that. And the one time that I would bet on it, Joe, that would be the time that it would not be free money. But there are some things in this game that I think could be free money. I think there are some lines. I think that based on even what we've alluded to in the game script, some different things that are going to be almost locks. So I know I asked you guys before the show to bring a couple options, so we're going to talk first just betting lines. We're going to leave touchdowns out. This could be rushing yards, receiving yards, passing yards. It could be sack totals. It could be under on overall points scored. Joe, I know you were screaming, only take the under earlier before the show. Frick, start us off. What's your lock for the night?
So I'm gonna hit you with 2 different receiving props that I like. The first one is gonna be Stephon Diggs for at least 4.5 receptions. The Seahawks are a little bit more vulnerable and from a slot position more so than the outside, and we know that Stephon Diggs is kind of like a big game player for them. So I think that they're gonna rely on him a lot. And I think that he's going to want to show out his first Super Bowl. He's got like 1 million kids, so he needs to kind of have hit those incentives. And then the other one that I like is Rashid Shaheed. I think longest reception in his prop is at 15.5 or something like that. So I think that one in the inverse for the Patriots. If you look at their defense, Christian Gonzalez is going to need to have the game of his life against JSN. The Patriots are more vulnerable to outside receivers. I think that the Seahawks are going to try to take some chunk plays there. So I think that Shaheed is really the only deep threat that they have. Cooper Kupp's not outrunning Dave Portnoy right now. So, I mean, that's not going to happen. And that pretty much leaves Shaheed, who can put the burners on. We saw it in the NFC Championship game. So those are 2 that I like.
I had a guy, I was on a show the other day, and one of the guys was like, hey, check this. I'm going to bet Rashid Shaheed for Super Bowl MVP plus 3,000. And, Joe said that if Shaheed takes one back for a touch, so I think that there's a possibility if Shaheed runs a kickoff return back for a touchdown and he can have a receiving touchdown and it's a low scoring game, that is actually possible. I'm not making the wager, but, it's out there. Joe, what do you think?
To him, we're going to have to edit out that entire Vrabel thing that we just talked about.
Agreed. No, I wholeheartedly agree with you on this one yet, and I would love to talk rookie draft. By the way, I am all the way prepared for that, so we could throw that in there.
Try to get to that segment. We'll roll through these bets quick.
I was going to say to me, the Super Bowl, and not again. Maybe I am just jealous. I'm not entirely positive. I don't know if there's a whole lot of avenues that I'm interested in with this one. If Drake May plays well, if the Patriots win this football game, it won't be because I think the Patriots are the best team in the NFL. If the Seahawks end up winning, it's Sam Darnold's playing well. It's a really great story. I'm like happy for Sam Darnold himself. I'm happy for anybody that graduates past the Jets and doesn't have I'm seeing ghosts that ends up sticking with him for 15 plus years. Good for Sam Darnold. I mean, the Seahawks, I think, were one of the best teams in the NFL. Compared to last year, where it's the Chiefs and Eagles, for example, two teams that I felt were definitely really good, for example, it's hard. So I actually have a lot of props related to special teams to the point we were talking about earlier with Mike Vrabel. And frankly, those might be more off the wall level kinds, which maybe we could expand to a bit further. I normally am somebody that really does like to dive into a bit more of I don't ever do the Gatorade color, for example. That just gets
orange. It's orange.
It's yeah, whatever. And I'm always wrong with that one too, and I always get annoyed with it. But this year in particular, I'm not sure I'm really going to be looking at many player props themselves. What has been, I think, the past 4 years now, a layup for me every single time is taking the backup running backs rushing total. And I think in this case, I'll be looking at George Halani. I think it's 3.5 right now. Let's just sell on FanDuel. The way that those guys get carries normally, it's just always a slam dunk that all it takes is 2 and you'll end up getting 4 yards. So I don't mind finding that. And often you could kind of shop around certain books, but
he's up to 10.5 on FanDuel, by the way.
Okay. All right. So that might be a little bit too high. I don't mind TreVeyon Henderson. I think TreVeyon Henderson gets a bit more work, even though he's been phased out of the playoffs. But all it takes is 1 carry for Henderson. I would almost rather find longest run of Henderson as opposed to saying what's the over on the rushing yards. I like that 10.5 is interesting on Halani. I don't know if I really want to go that direction. I have a few of the anytime touchdowns. Maybe I might do more parlay related stuff. I'm not sure if we had that in the show sheet, so to speak. But most of my off the wall bets are all related to special teams. And I kind of want to segment that just overall there.
Nice. I have a couple that I'm leaning on as far as going into this game. First of all, the Seahawks have a pretty good defense. However, the worst aspect of their defense is how they cover tight ends. They rank 29th in the league against tight ends. Hunter Henry's line is 38.5 receiving yards. So I really like the over for that. He's averaged more than that throughout the postseason anyways. He's got 81 yards, I think, on the postseason so far on 6 catches. So if the Seahawks can get out early and do like they did against the Rams and score some points, right, then I think that line is much more significant for Hunter Henry. So I like Hunter Henry over 38.5. That's a -110 via FanDuel. However, I would play it up to over 50 in this game, which is a +162. I really like that. And then the other one you kind of hit on, Joe, it's TreVeyon Henderson. TreVeyon Henderson through the postseason has averaged over 25 yards a game. He's on minimal carries. And like you said, it only really takes 1. So if I was going to hedge a bet and take a risk, right, I'm going to bet that he goes, I think the line is 25 yards. So TreVeyon Henderson plus 25 yards rushing is a +162 bet too. So you got both of these bets at positive odds for over 25 yards rushing. Again, only takes 1, but if he gets his normal average range of carries, it's highly probable that he crosses that line. So even when you talk about player parlays, I think that's an easy parlay. And I know next we're going to talk about anytime touchdowns. Can even get bounced in that too. Real quick, you got Brandon Hallam, Justin Herbert MVP. We all wish it was there.
No.
It started out that way, but it didn't end that way.
He's the MVP of
Herbert
what if.
thing.
It's again just what if every time.
What happens?
Mike McDaniel, though. This is the year. This is the year, Frick. Mike McDaniel. We got this.
Yeah. If the Seahawks go up 28-3 early, it's going to be. I would immediately go in and start placing bets on receivers for the Patriots, because the lines are only going to go down as the game progresses. But they're going to
are they going to blow it like the Falcons kind of a thing?
Yeah, that's James White should have won that MVP. That's my statement on that stuff.
Ooh, I like that.
Okay, so anytime touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime touchdowns. Frick, do you have any locks to get into the end zone?
Stephon Diggs. I'm going to double up there. I would parlay at the 4.5 and the touchdown.
Okay.
That's how I feel.
Tyler's like, I don't know, man. Like you're a little bit too invested in Stephon Diggs' kids. We don't really need to have this conversation as to why he's motivated for it. I'm sure there's some Cardi B references that Frick's thinking about right now. No. So the easier answer for me isn't so much like here's the anytime touchdown. Although I liked, I put together a parlay. I don't know if it's gonna be the same odds, but Diggs and Cooper Kupp to get both 15-yard receptions, and then Kenneth Walker anytime touchdown plus 234. I don't mind that one at all if we're kind of like mixing in the Kenneth Walker score opportunity. But I found this on FanDuel. It might not be there anymore, I guess. First touchdown jersey number over 11.5, under 11.5. The money is juiced to the under at minus 145. So the 11.5 first touchdown number. So it's first touchdown scored. Under 11.5 means Stephon Diggs, JSN, Kenneth Walker, Kayshon Boutte, Drake May. The over 11.5 would be all the tight ends. You'd have the AJ Barner QB sneak possibility from that. Cooper Kupp, Sam Darnold, Mac Hollins. I don't know. I think Stephon Diggs, JSN, Kenneth Walker, Kayshon Boutte, Drake May. I would rather take the under, even if the money is juiced at minus 145. So under 11.5 first touchdown jersey number score.
That's such an incredible bet. Like, who thought of that? Like, who's that person to raise?
You know, the cool thing, speaking of AJ Barner's rushing line, over a half a yard rushing, is positive odds, positive 118 on FanDuel.
You just need one tush push.
Yeah.
He also has like I think it's like a plus 800 for Barner to have a rushing touchdown, and then plus 238 for his anytime touchdown number, which would include him receiving or running. So I think AJ Barner actually is kind of an interesting one. I would gladly take the rushing yard over for him. I think that will definitely happen at least one point.
That's wild.
The tush push is alive, at least for this year. Okay, Joe, do you have? I know you mentioned. Do you have any that are locks for a touchdown? You think?
I think Kenneth Walker would be, and again, my lock if we're going the touchdown mark is the under 11.5 first touchdown score for the jersey number. That's where I go. But I have a litany.
Player, you got Walker.
Yeah, I think Kenneth Walker would probably be the one I would look at. Yep.
Awesome. Yeah. So for me, I've got two. I think that JSN is a lock to get in the end zone. I know the Christian Gonzalez thing is there. It's like, he's going to try to lock. I don't think he can. I think JSN.
I don't know, man. That boy is nice.
He's nice, but JSN is also
nice. Like,
he's a great route runner.
That is the game right there.
And the thing is, like, sometimes, like, when you have players that get separation, they can get separation, but they're not like phenomenal catchers. Like, he's got great hands. Like, so even if he gets separation and it's slightly out of reach or right there, he can still come up with it. Or in traffic, he can still come up with it. And, we see it time and time again with double-digit, looks every single game. Like, he's Darnold's safe haven. Like, Darnold is going to try to get in the ball. He's going to try to get him the ball downfield. He's going to try to get him the ball in the end zone. And so I don't think, if you think the Seahawks are going to score points, if you think they're going to score points, I don't see how you get away from JSN.
Sure.
That's my, and that it's a negative 105. So Vegas also believes it's very possible. My positive odds I'm going to go back to the Arkansas fandom that is me, and I'm going to say Hunter Henry gets into the end zone again. That's the Seahawks' weak point. Drake May likes them. I see Patriots playing from behind. I see them playing from behind in this game, which means they're going to throw the ball, despite the fact that, Vrabel has proven that he can just continue to grind. Like he's not going to spaz out and then just start airing the ball out like crazy. He's going to play, standard. Let's just play football, right? And but I do see where Hunter Henry gets in the end zone. He's been he's averaging. He's already had one touchdown this offseason. I just think it's high. It's a high possibility, and the odds come in at, was it plus 230 FanDuel? So it's strong. Like it's a strong positive odd bet for an anytime touchdown.
You know what my favorite bet is for the whole thing, the whole weekend? What? Seattle to attempt to pass at the opponent's 1 yard line for plus 500. I think I'm gonna have to sprinkle it because it's like
different coaching regime.
No, I know, but it's like that they're gonna be like, we're not afraid, like we'll do it, like I don't even care.
Plus, that would mess up Joe's anytime Kenneth Walker touchdown.
They don't have to score; they just have to attempt. It's just an attempt. They just try it, just the tip, see how it feels.
Walker can score from anywhere. It doesn't have to be the 1 yard line either. I think that's interesting. Can I give you guys? I'm curious what you guys think of these because I had this conversation on air today on SiriusXM. I did that for my Angel Fire radio show on Sunday as well too. I'm going to give you a couple just over under. I want to hear your thoughts on this. Total sacks within this game. So Patriots and Seahawks total sacks over under 5.5. The money is juiced to the under at minus 142, over at 108. Over under 5.5 sacks. Seahawks Patriots.
Really? The under is juiced? I would have pounded the over for the way that the Patriots are giving up sacks. That's crazy to me.
DeMarcus Lawrence, right now you can get just one sack for him at plus 112 as well, too. I don't mind that one. Over under 1.5 interceptions between both teams. The under, once again, juiced at minus 142, over at plus 112.
I could see both of them throwing a pick. I would take the over there again.
Tyler, where are you at with this? Over 1.5 interceptions between the two Sam Darnold and Drake May. I mean, I guess it could be like a Stephon Diggs throws a picks too if you want. I mean, it could just over how many interceptions.
It could happen. I don't hate it. I would say both quarterbacks have been fairly efficient, but here's the thing: the defenses are strong. Like both these defenses are good. And the secondaries are good. And like they have some picks that they shouldn't have ended up with picks, but were. So like it's highly probable, especially if, they can, if they can make Darnold go outside of if they can lock JSN down enough, I think it opens up even more. Or that dependency that Darnold has on him. If they double cover JSN, I could see him get one over the top. So yeah, I love it. I think that's a good line.
Darnold has 15 interceptions this season. Drake May, I think, 6 throughout this postseason as well, too. I believe that one is right there again. So, like, I think the sack total, again, I agree with you, Frick. I'd go over 5.5. It's one to at least consider. And then Seahawks to record more sacks than the Patriots. That's minus 178. I think that's actually been juiced up a little bit more as well, too. Like, I think the Seahawks will. I would just rather go with the combined total being over 5.5 as opposed to here's the Seahawks having more sacks than the Patriots.
So I got a couple comments in the chat. Stephon Diggs, no way he plays the Super Bowl and doesn't make May throw him a pass. I could definitely, if he doesn't get a pass, he will lose his mind. GB Chris dropping some bets in the chat. He said, easy lock. I've seen Henderson over 15 yards. Think that is an easy lock. We got Brandon Hallam saying Cooper Kupp's a sleeper. And GB Chris dropping in a 6-leg Super Bowl parlay to get the opinions on. So I'll run through this. You guys tell me what you think. So you got Jake Bobo to have a reception, so over half reception, so had to have a reception. Travion Henderson over 15.5 rushing yards. Cooper Kupp plus 4 receptions. JSN anytime touchdown. Mac Hollins 3+ receptions. And George Halani 4+ rushing attempts. $10 pays $1,207. Are you in on it, Joe?
No.
Yeah. I wouldn't take the 4 rushing attempts for Halani. I would not take the 4 receptions for Cooper Kupp. I would replace them with some AJ Barner stats, and certainly I would replace them with Hunter Henry as well too. Maybe it doesn't give quite the same payout. I don't mind Matt Collins 3+ receptions. We talked about this. Henderson at over 15.5 rushing yards. Totally fine with that one too. And the Jake Bobo gets the catch thing. It might as well be a meme itself. I don't mind that either, but I think I'd be worried about the Halani getting 4+ carries, and I think Cooper Kupp getting 4+ receptions.
Yeah. I mean, it's fun. If it hits, like, you're gonna be a legend for it. But I'm also like a terrible bettor, so the fact that I don't like it probably is good for you.
Yeah, good point.
So I agree. The Cooper Kupp 4 receptions is scary. I think the Travion's a lock. I think the JSN anytime touchdown is probably a lock. Mac Hollins 3+ receptions is scary too. Like, I could see it in a realm where, like we talked about, New England playing from behind and playing catch up, but that's not really Vrabel's style to just start launching down the field to make a big play. Mac Hollins only has 2 receptions so far throughout the postseason.
And to be fair, you don't
it's scary.
120 times your money without it being scary.
I would just pick like longest reception over for Mac Hollins at like 16.5, whatever might be that line. Like, I think if you're rather going that direction, I would go the Mac Hollins gets a long catch. And again, you're cutting it down. Who says you can't add more legs if you really want to have that? But it's the Halani. I think 4+ rushing is the one.
That's a strong pivot there, Joe. I agree, because Mac Hollins is averaging right now on his 2 receptions in the playoffs. His average yards per carry or per catch is 25.
Right.
It's right over 25. So if you could replace that with him to get a 16-yard catch, it's 10 yards shorter than his average. Like, he's got 50 yards. He had a 31-yard catch, and he had like a 20.
And again, half those games are played in conditions that you would choose not to pass the ball normally throughout the Patriots.
His average depth per catch during the regular season was 12 yards. So you're not far off from like an automatic dub there. Like, I think that's a great pull and replace.
Can I give you some boring but oddball or off the wall picks here that I want your guys' thoughts on?
Yes.
All right. So again, I'm staying away from the Gatorade and the national anthem stuff.
Hold on. For the watchers, we're gonna make this fun. So drop the bet, you drop the odds. Joe, we just have to either up and down agree or side to side disagree.
I have like 4 of them.
You think people are into that?
It's gonna be funny.
Sure it will.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna read off the one, and then I'll look to see if we're shaking heads or whatever. All right. Patriots punter Bryce Behringer, punt results in a touchback, plus 285. Frick is like, I guess I don't care about punters. So sure, whatever. We talked about Vrabel shaving off the edges of the game. He's not going to let Rashid Shaheed be a thing. And
if they kick it out of bounds,
touchback all day. That's great. Plus 285. That's
okay. All right. So that's one.
Amazing.
Let's build upon this.
Now you got me diving deep into the depths. Behringer punting stats. Because he punts a lot.
It doesn't matter. What he's nailing though, is the fact, if you're Vrabel, is there any way, if you're punting, that you try to give any shot of Rashid Shaheed doing a return?
Exactly.
That's not the thing, though. You just have to kick it out of bounds.
Okay, I'm just saying, like, if the option...
He's had 4 touchbacks the whole year.
That's why it's plus 285, Frick. That's exactly why it's there.
I know, but I'd rather bet on the carries. I'd rather bet on the carries than the punting.
All right. Okay, so, and then let's build upon this. Total kicks and punts across the game resulting in touchbacks, over 2.5 at minus 130, under 2.5 at plus 102. remember, it's not just Rashid Shaheed, but Marcus Jones for the Patriots, also a really good returner. So
solid.
Over 2.5 touchbacks total across both things and kicks and punts.
Yeah.
Kicks and punts.
Lock, right? I mean, it's boring. Nobody wants to talk about special teams, but I think that's one of them.
No,
too.
I'm digging it. The key thing here is you're pulling what seems to be very easy bets to place and win, and they're all plus odds.
Mhm.
Like that. There's going to be 2 kicks automatically. You know what I mean? Like kickoffs that are probably going to be touchbacks. Like they're not going to let Shaheed return a touchback for sure. You know what I mean? So
if they even try to kick it to somebody else, he's going to go get it.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that's hopefully, Chris, I see you're talking about kick it bounds all day. Hopefully you're writing these down because this is some killer special team stuff. Oh, you got 2 more, right?
Yeah, I have 2 more special teams, just total any punt across both teams to be a touchback plus 126. Again, going back to the Vrabel part of things, but Marcus Jones too. Last special teams one, again, not very fun to talk about. This might be my lock. This might be my Super Bowl lock overall. Both
how
teams,
much you putting on it?
I would put 100 on this. I think it's not legal to bet in Wisconsin, so I would put 100 on this. Both teams to make a 33-yard field goal or longer, minus 150.
I mean, that's pretty much just the way that the NFL works.
There you go.
So saying, bet $100, make 50. You're all right.
There you go. There's both teams to make a 33 or longer yard field goal. The other one I'll talk about, total number of players to record a pass attempt over 2.5 plus 146. I do think that happens. I don't know how successful it'll be. I have no idea.
It happened last year because Kenny Pickett threw a random pass at the end of the game.
Exactly. There's so many scenarios for this to occur. I do think, again, Vrabel maybe pulling out a trick play. Is there an offensive line touchdown, kind of like Vrabel scored 10 times or whatever it was throughout his career? I do think there's going to be a third person that attempts to pass again at plus 146. But a lot of special team stuff, and the one oddball being the over 2.5 on the total attempts by players in this game.
The fun thing, these are fun bets. This is how I like to bet, right? Like these are fun bets because if that happens, or when that happens, you're going to go nuts. Like you're going to lose your mind watching the game. You're like, yeah, because you won on such ridiculousness, but that makes it fun. Like you'll be sitting there going like, come on. You see a backwards pass to Cooper Kupp over on the sidelines, and you're like, yes, he's gonna do it, and then he just runs down the sideline, and you're like, no. I love those great bets, Joe. Thanks for bringing those to the viewers. If you have any thoughts, any bets that you're locking in, please drop those into the comments. If you're watching the replay, drop those in the comments. We'd love to hear your bets, and hopefully we've helped you set up. So guys, we got about 10 minutes of the show left. About 10 minutes of the show. And we were going to talk a bit more about what's next. Obviously for fantasy players, you're already thinking that. I mean, rookie draft profiles, it's all going nuts. You're trying to figure out who you're going to draft in Dynasty, but then you also have the side of players that they're falling out or they're getting older, and you have to try to strategically move off of those players to while you still can get value out of them before they've dropped off the age cliff, and then all of a sudden you can't get hardly anything for them. So, Joe, specifically, I guess I'm curious for you this offseason. There's a lot of people that are saying they're not as hype about this rookie class as they are the one coming next year.
Yeah.
And they say really if you're not within the first, 5 to 6 picks in this rookie draft, it's pretty barren. Now, I don't necessarily agree with that. In full view, I'm sure you've got some, but for you, off-season buys going in, are you looking to get picks? Do you want in this draft pretty heavy, or would you, on the opposite side of that, be willing to turn these picks into players this year?
So this is a great conversation. We posted our way too early 2026 rankings probably 4 weeks ago. That was pre-George Kittle injury. That was pre-Mike McDaniel signing as the OC for the Chargers. But we're already kind of tackling this on RotoWire. We're going to have our best ball rankings posted Tuesday. So 2 days after the Super Bowl, that's going to be up on RotoWire right away. We got all the projections, things like that. We did our very first mock draft on SiriusXM 2 days ago as well. So that's on my Twitter, JB Fantasy Sports. It'll be all over the platform. And I think on channel 87 during the Super Bowl, if for whatever reason you're not watching the game, you could listen to the draft and they break down a lot of that stuff too. So I've actually been tackling this a lot and kind of going over certain concepts and ideas and processes. One of the things I wanted to have for next year, like I always do, like what was my biggest takeaway from this year? What can I apply to next year? I did the waiver wire podcast first. I've been doing it now for 5 years, but I did the waiver wire article for us this year too. We're updating it 4 times a week. I'm sure you guys have went this game or done this game already too. To me, I thought Kenny Gainwell was the biggest waiver wire running back winner this year. And it really just speaks to us in the industry and just people's overall knowledge that there aren't guys that are just immediate, like the James Robinsons of the world aren't things anymore. Like you can't really find waiver wire gems or darlings or running backs off the waiver wires. So because of that, I think I'm going to be heavily drafting running backs early in redraft leagues and kind of trying to take the guesswork out. Like the idea is, all right, if I'll draft, we'll just say Jonathan Taylor ended up being, I think, like pick 9 this year. So it's not a great example. But in that mock draft, I'll take Jonathan Taylor. Well, I can probably find whatever the Colts backup is, and I'll take him around 12, 13, 14, and I'll have that in the case that Jonathan Taylor gets hurt. If he gets hurt, whatever. I've already lost my league anyway, but like I'll have that elite production. So like to convert it to the question overall time, I think it's a good one. I think there's always a problem when people are looking ahead for drafts. I mean, remember Garrett Nussmeier, like I don't know, like July was going to be a guaranteed lock first round pick. And now he's like maybe day 2 and he looked good in the Senior Bowl because everyone else sucked. Like, I mean, that happens all the time, less so for guys like Ryan Williams and Jeremiah Smith. Like I understand the allure of what that class will be next year and kind of throwing those quarterbacks in the mix and the Arch Mannings of the world. I get that process, but too often we get lost in what's to come and don't realize what's in front of us here. It won't be, to be fair, it won't be in a Superflex league. Matthew Golden ended up being like 2-2 for me, right? Like you're not going to get first round draft capital guy that falls to the early second round like we had this past class. And that was with Colston Loveland's and Tyler Warren's mixed in too. So there's some middle ground to that, but I don't know, like, could you send a late first for Javonte Williams if and when he signs with the Cowboys? Could you try to capitalize on Travis Etienne's murky free agent value? And if he returns to the Jaguars, can you get a late first round pick for Etienne, for example? Like, I think there are ways to make sure I get an elite running back or one I feel comfortable with, and also capitalize on that late first round being a little bit less than desirable relative to what it has been in past years.
Yeah.
Something I've been thinking about a lot is, do I sell my 2027 first this offseason? People are so bricked up about this class. And it's like you could get Bucky Irving maybe for your first straight up because people are so excited about it. And it's like every year that we're seeing that the NIL, it pushes good talent further out and further out. And everybody is always, the next class is going to be the best class. I know 2026 people weren't really thrilled about it for a long period of time.
Right.
But there is a chance that there's a lot of people that could declare in 2027, say, hey, you know what? I'm going to hang back for another year. I'm going to party it up in college, get paid, and I don't really care because it's the wild, wild west of this NIL situation. So for me, I'm really looking heavy about, I don't think I have a situation where I have like the 106 and the 110. Am I going to be able to really move that into the 2027 draft? Probably not.
No, right.
But can I if I have a team that's close to contention, throw out that 2027 first and see what I can do with it? It might get you pretty far.
You know, I always try to tell people, and I'm going to tell you guys early, okay? Timing is everything when it comes to working these picks. Like even right now, Joe, like people where right now people aren't as excited about 2026, right? That 2027 pick carries a lot more value, right? As we get closer in and you get to the combine, you get a little glimpse, you see some 40 times, you hear all the hype climbing up, right? Then all of a sudden, people get to the opposite side of that, right? And where instead of trying to trade for 2027, now they're trying to trade for 2026s, right? And so if you understand the timeline of how these happens, you can really implement a strategy to really win on both sides. But I will tell you this. If you're going to trade away a 2026 draft pick, okay, especially your first, just pump the brakes and chill, okay?
Yeah.
Do not do it till draft day or right there then. The hype is the most high. You've got somebody that's wanting to move up for a player because their player's still there, and they will pay. You'll never get it's kind of like the ebb and flow of values, right? You'll never get more than that right there, right? But if if I was trying to, even if you're trying to trade for 2027 picks, if you want to trade your 26 for 27, do it during the draft. And you may and when you have the 1-6 and somebody's trying to get it from you and they say, you know what, you can have all my picks for 2027. You can have round 1 through 4
that you give out. I want to be in these leagues,
dude,
because like the depth that I have to go into.
It happens.
No. It happens to you because you are a salesman.
No,
I'm just like a little fantasy football commissioner. It's like, everybody, I hope you have fun. Make sure to pay your dues. Here's some nachos. Like, no one's trying to trade with me like that. Like, I have to basically like lose every trade to get people to the table.
Well, I can't. I'm sorry that you can't get people to sit at the table with you, Joe. Maybe if you were a better looking Joe, then it would happen. No, but I mean, do you have any different feelings towards it? I mean, I think that there's, a lot of reality in that. Like I said, right now, your 2027 pick is going to bring you more value than your 2026 pick. But as you get closer to the draft, your 2026 pick is going to bring you much more value than your 2027 pick. And same thing with players. Like, if you're going to move off of a veteran, you have to do it right now. Like, if you're going to move off of a veteran, you got to do it right now before the combine hits. Because once the combine hits and you get 40 times and you get excitement, that shot's gone. If you want to go trade an aged out player, it's got to happen now. I mean, is your timeline any different?
No, I care about being liquid. So in a lot of different ways, if I were to trade 2027 first and accumulate more assets this year, the NBA trade deadline was just 2 days ago, whatever it is. Like I don't really follow the NBA, especially the regular season, but I like watching the trade stuff. And I think the way that I operate from a dynasty perspective is very similar to how the NBA teams are operating with their assets as well, too. I could make 3 separate moves after trading that 2027 first and potentially get another one back if I really wanted to. Like, it depending on the league and knowing your league mates, right? Like, to move the 2027 first to get more assets this year means I have more ability to do moves as the season progresses, as opposed to just kind of dangling and waiting for whatever that might look like for 2027. Now, that requires you to be a Tyler Bradley, who's maybe a salesman. That requires you to be active, and it requires you to be in a league that also is active as well, too. I was going to pose the question, how many leagues on February 6th are even considering trading at all? Like, I'm in 4 or 5 different dynasty leagues, and I don't think I could hit up a single person without them being annoyed at me about trying to make a trade at this point. Like, it is the lull. It is, for us in the industry, it is the recovery period in a lot of different ways, and it will start back up in earnest in 3 weeks when the NFL Combine happens, and we get more of that data points. There are times to take advantage. I do think this is an interesting spot now if you could find the one sicko in your league who's down to trade February 6th. But to me, we're kind of just stuck and waiting until we get more information and more hot takes start matriculating, and you see people kind of consuming whoever their favorite expert is, hopefully all 3 of us here, who will lead you down the path of righteousness and victory as opposed to those other fakers out there. But I think it's tough to have this conversation early February and say, well, yeah, go make trades right now. Who's doing that?
So do you want to trade with that sicko?
So I will say this. I run on the leagues I commission. They are pretty active leagues, but I run them following the NFL schedule or the NFL calendar. So we actually do shut down until the off season officially opens mid-February. And so once the off season officially opens pre-combine, we like I'll turn on the opportunity to add players, to trade in those leagues. And it's because of that. Like there is a context that, the values change through different sections of and so if we need 2 weeks to trade people before the combine while the hype's not all the way there. And then of course it's all going to change when the combine hits. And then you're going to have the ones that want to sell their early picks, or they want to, it just keeps the league more fun and moving. Now, I don't like to play in leagues with people that aren't active. Like if you're not, even if you're like a dude's like, I pay my dues, it's not fun. Like, like it's not fun. Like be there, talk. And like, I've been lucky enough. I'm not in a ton of dynasty leagues. My bandwidth is not that crazy, but I've got 4 or 5 of them and every one of them's active. The chats go, people talk about the games, people talk about random stuff. So it's fun and it makes trading fun.
That was the fantasy analyst thing I've ever heard. I'm not in that many dynasty leagues.
I'm only in 4 or 5. Yeah.
Dude, I feel like I talked to a guy the other day and he's like, I'm in 267 leagues. And I'm like, you're crazy.
No, you just like to draft. Just play best ball. It's way easier.
Dude, best ball literally blew up so people could draft. Like it is the easy. I only do best ball to draft so I can get it out of my system and I don't join more leagues.
Right.
This is a great question for you and the audience. Do you know of many people who will join like those free Yahoo leagues just to go ahead and win and like be a participant of it? So like the person that's in 266 dynasty leagues, literally, how do they find the ability to go ahead and do so other than just joining random leagues and be like, all right, I'm going to be in this one now, even if it wins nothing? Like those people should be locked up. Like I think there's a very easy way to like, all right, who are going to be the psychopaths in America? How many dynasty leagues are you in? And did you join any free ones? Like, okay, just send them off to Alcatraz or whatever. Like I always get very worried about when I hear those kinds of people.
Well, no, he told me, he said, once a week, it takes him 6 hours just to go through waivers.
Yeah, no, thank you. Waivers is my favorite thing about fantasy football. That sounds like
really.
Oh, I am all about waivers. I love it.
I mean, I was in 17.
Rick, you sicko.
I was in 17 redraft leagues this year. I'm very thankful I could be like, hey guys, I'm going to take 3 hours at my work at RotoWire to go ahead and make all my different waiver wire stuff. Like it was a comprehensive thing. I don't enjoy going through waivers though. I think it's like a necessary evil part of that. I don't hate it either. Like obviously I like drafting as does everyone else, but I'm not like, man, waivers is my favorite part about fantasy. That's crazy.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I don't know. There's just something about like getting that like league winner guy off waivers. Like it's just so sick.
Okay.
I know we were talking before about like it's harder to do these days.
Yes,
but that just makes the chase that much more sweet.
It's the chase. It's like he's opening up card packs, just trying to get. If you
look at my transaction history through the season, you're like, you need more hobbies, man. Like you don't need to like churn through these guys. Like they have feelings, they have families back at home, and you just throw them to the curb like after one bad game.
Okay. I'm going to try to trim this last bit down. Just give us a quick hitter, right? For those of you tuned in, thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you hit that like button. Appreciate IBT Media dropping in. Great show, guys. Appreciate the love.
Coming for that title too, by the way, IBT. You better watch out.
So give me your of players. Let's leave rookies out of it, okay? Because we had a little rookie talk here. Of players currently in the league, give me one player that is your must sell this year. Like you need to sell them, and give me one player that is someone that you're looking to buy, somebody whose value may be a little bit low right now, and you think you can get at a value that's going to make a difference for you next season.
Okay. So I would assume in dynasty leagues, whoever took Trevion Henderson is not ready to sell him, right? I like it.
Not.
I mean, I would imagine that it's going to be an above average cost.
Like you'd almost need to give what you drafted him for, right? Kind of thing. Whereas like if you had Travis Hunter, I'll give up whatever because that was horrible, right? Like so I don't think Henderson qualifies. I took him in the 5th round of our SiriusXM redraft league that we did 2 days ago. It's not played out. It is a mock draft, but I have a lot of faith that Henderson will be able to do better. Like I mentioned, ETN, I talked about if he returns to Jacksonville as a free agent here, I think there's a buy opportunity. I'll give you a sell that I think is interesting, and maybe the chat will as well too, but I have been talking all last offseason that once Drew Petzing is fired by the Cardinals, and he will be this year, I'll buy every share of Marvin Harrison possible. Not sure if you guys saw this or went under the radar for you. It did for me. Nathaniel Hackett is your offensive coordinator for the Mike LaFleur
how
Cardinals.
Does this guy keep getting jobs?
I think you won't be able to sell Marvin Harrison next year, and this might be the last time that you could sell Marvin Harrison. Certainly not what you were drafting him 3 years ago.
I know exactly who will have Marvin Harrison, and it's the same person that continued to buy Kyle Pitts year after year.
Yeah, and maybe it's the Kyle Pitts guy 8 years later gets it with Kevin Stefanski. I mean, he's going to be quietly a very easy top 10 drafted tight end, I think, in redraft leagues. But I wonder if the sell is Marvin Harrison right now. And then the one buy I would give you, I don't know if it's really a great buy, but I would do it in this class, is Tucker Kraft. I drafted him as my tight end 4 in redraft. So I went Colston Loveland 3, of course, Bowers and McBride 1 and 2. Harold Fannin went right after. Tyler Warren went right after. I think Kraft will get an extension this offseason for the Packers. And I do think if the Packers offense operates the way it should, Kraft is going to be a very easy and conventional top 5 tight end that isn't really being considered there because of that injury.
So I know you're a Packers fan. So GB Chris dropped a chat in here. I want to make sure to get your thoughts on it. Derrick Henry's sell. He's a monster, but age gets everyone. Sure. Big shocker here, but I'm buying Golden. Packers are going to lose some receivers this offseason. Joe, I know you said you drafted him last year at the 2-2 spot.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going out and trying to buy more shares in your other leagues, or are you selling them?
I would love to buy more shares. Matthew Golden in redraft for that mock draft, I think it was like a round 9 or 10 pick. That if that ADP holds, I will be having 100% exposure across all redraft leagues, across all best ball leagues. I know that Golden didn't have the counting stats that we expected of a first round pick. I'm going to just tell you the history of Packers rookie receivers is bleak. Whether it be James Jones or Greg Jennings or Jordy Nelson or Devontae Adams or Randall Cobb, everyone after their first year doesn't do well. Would I like my team to use their highly drafted players really easily like every other NFL team? Yes, that would be great. It would be really cool for that to happen. It doesn't, for whatever reason, for the past 2 decades now for the Packers. Watching the film of Matthew Golden run those routes, watching that Bears game in particular, what he does after the catch, I am more convinced than ever that he is going to be an elite receiver at the NFL level. And I don't think it's a faith of Matt LaFleur or Jordan Love. It's just what every Packer receiver has to do. And whether you think that process is right or wrong, it makes no difference due to the results. I would be happy to buy Matthew Golden if I can get him at a discount anyway.
All right. Joe, what about you? One sell, one buy.
The sell for me, there's 2 running backs that come to mind. I think both of these are being talked about a decent amount. The first one is Woody Marks. He kind of took over the lead back role this year in Houston, but I don't think it's necessarily going to be sustainable. His efficiency metrics weren't that great. Joe Mixon has this weird foot thing, which I actually talked to Joe about it at the expo, and he was like, hey, like, you need to be careful of this. And I just like kept that nugget in my brain, and I'm so glad that I did, because I had 0 shares of Mixon this year. But I don't think that he's a long-term solution. I think that like he won't sell for much, but he's like a good throw-in piece if you're trying to upgrade on a pick or something like that.
What's just real quick, like what pick would you be willing, if you were going to trade him for a rookie pick, what range?
So I think how I would use it, right? So let's say that I'm at like the 106, 107, and I'm trying to get into that top 5. You take that pick with the Woody Marks. I think people perceive it as, hey, I'm getting a starting running back for this. I'm good with that, kind of like the tier down. That's how I would use it. If you're going to do it for like, I don't believe in rookie picks beyond 2-6 in any class year. I think they're all a waste of my time. And I think it's just like a hobby for people that are bored in the offseason to do like 3rd, 4th, 5th round picks. You drop them after like a week because they didn't break out, even though you thought that they would. What's up, Bashaw Tootin? Everybody was all up on him. And ETN.
That was a late 2nd round pick was Bashaw Tootin though. Like I would take a second for Woody Marks today.
Like beyond that, like it's just like, is it worth my time? No. So it's like I'm not going to trade a guy that's getting starts, that's getting points, that has some good games for somebody that's like in the end of the 2nd, 3rd round. It probably isn't going to do anything. But to tier up and get into somewhere, or to use it as part of like a trade to get like a,
or maybe
player,
him in your 2nd gets you into the 1st again.
something like that. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. What about a buy for you? Who's somebody that you're trying to get a hold of?
I think that it's a generational buy right now for Justin Jefferson. I would do anything that I could to get him. I know that like he's still valued high because he's Justin Jefferson, but like I know that he is kind of being thrown around as the wide receiver 1 right now, but I don't think that JSN clears the Chase, the Jefferson kind of like tier for me. I would put Puka above him as well because he's done it for multiple years. I understand that JSN's awesome. He has the draft capital. He's getting the targets, all this stuff. But a team that runs 50% of the time, if they finally get somebody who can command more than 80 targets a year, is he going to be able to hold up? So for me, it's like he just had maybe his best season of his career. Am I going to kind of like, can I tear down and get Jefferson in your 2027 first? Yeah, give me that all day. Like I'll take Jefferson. He's going to bounce back. I'm fine with that. I've seen him do it for 5 years now.
So do you think, just in connection with Jefferson, do you think that the Vikings move off of JJ McCarthy, or do you think JJ McCarthy can keep Jefferson viable for that kind of value?
They
got to find a way. Otherwise, Kevin O'Connell's not going to have a job.
McCarthy will not be the starting quarterback for the Vikings next year. There is no way. Like they could sign Marcus Mariota or Joe Flacco. They could trade for Mac Jones and give him a contract if they want to. Yeah, I think Malik Willis is a Dolphin because the Dolphins are just bringing the Packers to the East Coast. But
sure, that's true.
There's too many veteran guys that can just do what Flacco did this past year that they can't have McCarthy be the starting quarterback next year.
Aaron Rodgers got to complete the Brett Favre arc.
Well, he's sticking with you and big old Mike. I don't think he wants to leave his comfy pastures anymore.
True.
Golly. Chris drops us in one more chat, which I'm not going to lose my mind on. But Anthony Richardson, that
is Tyler's favorite player. You want to talk about all-time buy?
Tyler
loves Anthony Richardson.
No, not me. Hey, look, guys. Thank you so much for coming on the show tonight. I know we got started a little bit late. Thank you all for tuning in and watching your rock stars. Definitely going to have this crew back together again here soon. Joe, you're really digging into rookie draft stuff right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So post Super Bowl I would say probably the last Friday in February. We're going to do a rookie draft episode here. Can I count you in?
Yeah, sure. I mean, that'll be right around the combine as well, too. We'll get some data tools as part of that. I mean, I'm hoping to be in Pittsburgh. I don't know if I'll see more handsome Joe as well there, too. But I would love to go to the NFL draft. I was there last year. We'll see if we can make the trek and if RotoWire is down for that. But this is my favorite time of the year. I've always said that there's 3 holidays for me: Christmas, my birthday, and the NFL draft. Sorry, my son's birthday. I guess I'll have to be in the back seat still for a little bit, but this is the best time of the year for me, and I'm super pumped for it.
We'll see. Awesome. I'll talk to my boss. I'll let you know.
Well, I didn't think about the comments. We may do it next week.
Okay.
I want to get pre-combine reactions. I want to hear what you think about the tape before it gets all convoluted by the stats. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like going into the combine, nobody was hyped about Anthony Richardson. He did nothing. Then the combine goes and he's an athletic freak and everybody's like, oh, he's amazing. So the combine shifts things a little bit, right? So I want to get pre-combine and then we'll bring you back for post-combine.
You got 2 weeks yet before that happens. I think that's perfect. We could find something to make that happen.
You know who said that about Anthony Richardson? Tyler.
I said what?
The man, he's amazing.
No, you know what I said? I said, if you can't get a Florida team over 500, you ain't going to make it in the NFL, bro.
Okay, then how does Cliff Kingsbury still get jobs when he couldn't win games with Patrick Mahomes as his college quarterback?
Because people are delusional and they like punishment. Okay, they like
Joe. He has the Thailand hookups. That's what it is.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, we're out on that one. Hey, thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next week, Friday night, 9:00 Central from the Forum. Have a good one. Appreciate you. We're out.
We are here. We are here. FantasySportsAdvice.com, offering the best fantasy sports social media platform. Why join endless Discord communities or the trolls of Reddit? Fantasy Sports Advice is a community designed to help you win with 24/7 support. Go to FantasySportsAdvice.com and become a pro member for unlimited access. Again, go to FantasySports